And 3, I know my field. I got a job in 1 week, y'all. That's how your girl got to 6 figures. So today I'm going to tell you about 9 steps and how I went from making $13 an hour to 6 figures in my 9 to 5. It's going to be 9 steps, so listen up. Now, I do have my notes because I don't want to lose track, but this is my story from beginning to end, how I went from making $13 an hour to 6 figures. First things first, your girl dropped out of college. I hate to say it. My son came up on me one day. He's 8 years old now. And he caught me kind of thinking to myself what I was going to talk about. And he was like, "You dropped out of college?"
I don't think so. I don't think so.
And I was like, "Yeah, son," basically. I couldn't afford it. Couldn't afford it anymore. I had went to school for 4 long years. Couldn't graduate. Couldn't afford it. So, yeah, unfortunately, I dropped out. But that's my next first step. Well, next first step, that's the first step. The first step into how I went from making $13 an hour to 6 figures is, number 1, I went back to school and got an accounting diploma. Now, let me tell you, I've never really used that accounting diploma. But let me tell you what happened when I was going to school to get that accounting diploma. So what had happened was I planned for me to go to this technical school, get this accounting diploma, and then I would go to work immediately following. The school was set up where I would go to work, I would go to school from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and I would go straight to work from 3 o'clock to 11:30 at night. And my job was right across the street, basically. So as soon as I started school, I thought I was doing something. I was like, yeah, I'm in school. I'm trying to get my accounting diploma. I'm trying to get my life back on track. Then I'm going to go to work. I got it all set up, right? That's what I thought. But you know what happened? I got pregnant. I did. Now, mind you, I was married, but I got pregnant. It wasn't intentional, but it happened. So I was about to stop going to that school up until my dean told me I was doing remarkable, or like the A+ student of the class. So I kept going. I kept going. And I say this is step 1 because going to school while pregnant full time, that entire time, and going to work immediately following, because I kept doing it, y'all. I kept going.
What? What?
That's one thing. That was my biggest takeaway. I kept going, okay? So I did that, and I graduated from that accounting diploma program on October the 26th and had my son November 2nd. So your girl went through the whole pregnancy. And what that did was it made me a beast. It made me just a go hard, like you can't tell me nothing, I'm gonna go for it, I'm gonna do what I need to do type of person. So I say that's step 1 because it made me mentally a beast. Me enrolling to that program, being pregnant, going in person in school from 8 a.m. to 2 and going straight to work. Step 1 was doing that, and it made me a beast. Now, my second step was updating my resume. So yeah, I skipped a big part, which was I had my baby, I was trying to get jobs and everything, but I really couldn't get a new job in the career that I wanted. So I updated my resume because remember I told you I had been to school in college for 4 years already. I got this diploma, so I updated my resume, and there was one key thing that I put on my resume that I know helped me out. Instead of me just putting the school that I went to, I didn't even put the graduation. I didn't say that I graduated, but the other one I did. So I couldn't say I graduated if I didn't. So what I did was I wrote in parentheses, completed 98 credit hours towards my degree. And that was my degree in human resources. I tell y'all, that sealed the deal for me. Step 2, updating my resume. I got my first HR job.
I'm out.
You can't leave!
You watch me. Deuces!
Which leads me into, that was step 3. I got a job in my field. It was the entry-level job, nonetheless, but it was a job in my field, okay? that job was the beginning of everything. So what I did when I was on my entry level HR job, I kept current with the changes in HR. I did research while I was on the job, just trying to figure out like what was going on in HR, like what can my future look like in this field, what type of, there were so many different branches of human resources that I can get into. But the point is I kept focused and I kept my eyes on my industry. Now, it's important for me to note here that before I got the HR career job, okay, we're on step 3, okay? Before I got that job, remember when I said I was working, I was going to school, then going to work, going to school, then going to work? That was a job at an assembly line, and they were paying me pretty good, but I knew that wasn't going to set me up for success. I knew that was going to mess up my future if I let it. So I always tell people I had to take a few steps back to take 10 steps forward, because that assembly line job was paying me good, but I knew it wasn't going to pay me good forever. And when I say good, I mean like, what, $18 an hour back then? That was good back then, okay? So while my counterparts and my peers and stuff, like at other jobs, was making $15 an hour, right? So now, did you hear what I said? Now, I told you earlier that this is the story of how I went from $13 an hour to the 6 figures. Now, at the assembly line, I was at $18 an hour. When I got my first HR job, though, I was at $13. So I had took a $5 pay cut.
What you say?
But all this needed to happen. Now, which leads me to step 4. So remember, I said I did all that research and was just trying to keep my mind stayed on the prize. Step 4 was I enrolled back in school to finish my bachelor's degree. That, my friend, needed to happen. The path that I wanted to take, I knew that that's what I needed to do. When I enrolled, I remember when I got my first assignment, I remember I sat on my floor in my house, my apartment, and I cried. And I was like, I can't do this. I haven't been in school for like 6 years. I'm not going to be able to do this. I stumbled through that first class. But next thing you know, I had my bachelor's degree, which I would say is step 5, was I got my bachelor's degree. Now, we're on to step 6. Step 6 was I got my second HR job. So I got my second HR career job. And remember, I told y'all I was doing that research before. This time, I got the second HR job in HRIS, which was another branch of the industry that I'm in, that I was researching, that I wanted to be a part of. So I did what I needed to do. Like, again, I'm on this path, right? I'm on this path of trying to build up myself, trying to build up my life, trying to move forward, right? That's step 6, right? So I hope y'all following me. Okay, let's make sure you still got it, okay? Step 1, I got my accounting diploma. Step 2, updated my resume. Step 3, I got my first career job. Step 4, I enrolled in school to get my bachelor's degree. Step 5, I got my bachelor's degree. Step 6, I got this HRIS job, my second HR job, okay? The reason why this is so crucial in the steps and the path is because that second HR job I got was at a school. It was at a university, okay? Put a pin in that. But what happened was I met these 2 women at this job who became my mentors, okay? That is worth its weight in gold. And that's why I say explore, be friendly, talk to people, because you never know who you're going to meet. Network. You never know who you're going to meet and how they're going to help your career. Step 7, at this job, at the university that I was working at, I got promoted, okay? So I got promoted. Now, at this point, remember, I was making $18 an hour at the assembly line. Then I was making $13 an hour at my first HR job. Then my second HR job, I'm at $15 an hour, $16 an hour. Y'all, I'm still not even up to what I was making at my assembly line job. I'm still not back at that $18, $19 an hour, right? Now you fast forward. I got promoted, right? I got promoted. I'm going to make a whole new video about how that promotion and stuff happened. But I got promoted. That is step 7. By this point, now I'm making $24 per hour. We up. We back up. Okay? This happened over like a 5-year span. All this, what I just said, happened over like a 5-year span. Again, you got to follow your plan, follow your path. Been 5 years, right? I'm back over what I was making at the assembly line. I'm making $24 an hour. I'm almost at, I think I was almost at 50K a year. The reason why this is important, when you get a 50% increase, practically a 50% increase, y'all, I don't even think that was fair, but that was what I call favor. Not from the people that work there, not from the VP, not from my boss. From the man upstairs, Jesus, God, my Lord and Savior. That's who it was from, okay? That was the favor. Now, one thing I wanted to tell y'all, and I don't want to forget, that's why I wrote this down. Some people stay at jobs and only increase their salary 2% per year, 3% per year. So in a 5-year span, maybe they'll get a 15% increase. In 5 years, I got a 100% increase in pay. Let that sink in. Step 8. I'm working at the university. If people know, a lot of times when you go to school or you work at a school, they will pay your tuition. So yes, I took advantage of that tuition payments, and I got my master's degree for free. Master's degree for free. Okay, that's step 8. All right, we at the end. We at the end, y'all. Step 9. Why does all this all matter? Why does all this play a part? Y'all, I learned so much. Since that first assembly line job, since that accounting diploma that I never used, but it built me up mentally, since redoing my resume so that it reflect who I really was and what I really bring to the table. I learned so much from getting that first HR job, that second HR job. Learned so much from my mentors who I had at my second HR job. Knew to take advantage of getting a free education and got my master's degree. Then, step 9, last but not least, I used all of what I learned, okay? Updated my resume, right? When it was time for me to switch jobs. And I got a new job in 1 week. Because 1, I had my resume on point. And 2, I knew how to interview like the back of my hand. And 3, I know my field. I got a job in 1 week, y'all. That's how your girl got to 6 figures. Drop me a comment below if you want me to help you get to your 6 figures.